Alright, so hello world, welcome back to another JavaScript tutorial. This is JavaScript tutorial number 18, more on loops. So, before we talk about a new concept of loops, let's go ahead and talk about, review a few loops we've been learned. So the first loop is really the most fundamental one, or the most common one, I should say, maybe not the most fundamental one, called for loop. Alright, so this is example for loop. For space parenthesis let I equals 0, semicolon, I less than 5, I plus plus, then consider hello world. So what will happen is, so let's go and review for loop. So this is what we call initial. So I'm writing on the mouse right now, so it's not looks really good. But try my best. So it's called initial expression. This is called condition. And this, the last part, is called incrementation, or decrementation sometimes. Increment expression. Alright, so basically this is a 4 parts. Then this, whatever is inside is waiting to be executed. So this is waiting to be executed. Alright, so what happened is going to run through every time. So for example, when it do that, okay, so to create a local variable called 0, so you cannot access it outside of the loop. And then condition is it's going to check, is this less than 5? If I is less than 5, then continue doing the stuff it's supposed to do, and then else we're just going to quit. So stop running this loop. So if it's indeed less than 5, this I going to get incremented. I plus plus is just shorthand notation of I plus equal to 1. So I plus equal to 1. Or just basically means I is whatever the value is, add 1 to it. So the I going to become 1, and then it's going to print out this once. And then this value get modified to 1, so on so forth. So this is going to repeat 5 times because, okay, so 0 is 1 time. When it's 1 less than 0, so now I is 2. 2 times. When I is 3, it's fine. 3 times. It's 4. 4 times. And finally, when it reaches the 5, it stops. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably forget a tally mark. And actually, sorry about that. I didn't know how American did that. So this is a tally mark. So basically, it means it's executed for 5 times. Sorry for my bad handwriting since I wrote on mouse. So we'll just review the for loop, and you can learn more loop on the probably the first intro to looping tutorial. Probably I'm gonna put a card here. You can click on here. Hopefully I put it. Hopefully I'm not lazy to do that. All right. So second loop we're going to review is the while loop. Okay. So actually let's try to execute this line of code so you can see it in action. Okay, so we can say for that I equals 0 less than 5, I plus plus, Oh, sorry about that. Shift enter if you want another line. We can say console.log hello world, and we got hello world for 5 times. Alright, so let's go and move on to the while loop. So so for the while loop, this it is similar to, sorry, I don't know what's this. Alright, so while loop, let me actually select this. Crop it, probably not. Alright. So let's take a look on while loop. This is a condition. So this is condition. And that's basically it. That's the only required part. So while true means this loop will execute every time because true is always true. So this will only execute when the condition is true, where if it is true at all, then it's going to run here. So it's going to run forever because there's nothing be able to stop it. And we'll learn a little bit about this forever loop, so to speak, in just a little bit. Alright, so now let's go and move on to the final loop. It's called do while loop, which is basically another kind of while loop, but more complex. So, let's take a look this while loop. So what happening is you can see some common let's take a look at some commonality between the for loop. So we have this initial expression, right? So now it's actually a variable. So we have the initial expression. So this is sort of like initial expression. Just gonna write init for shorthand for initial expression. And this is like condition. And if you take a look, it have a while here, which is similar to while loop. And then this here is incrementation. Increment by 1. By the way, in case you wonder, I minus minus is basically the opposite of I plus plus. So what happened is it's going to do the similar thing, except but here's a bug of do while loop. So it will still run 5 times because it turns out that 5 is greater than 0. Okay, so but when you do a similar do while loop, so such that we can say var I equals 0, do, can say console.log hello world I plus plus while it's less than 0. Alright, but if you run this, we find a problem. It still have hello 0 while 0 is not less than 0. That's because it's a matter of how JavaScript is executed. JavaScript is always executed from top to the bottom and left to right. So what happening is I read this line first. And then okay, so I create a new variable that's a do. So it does not care what happening inside with a condition after it. Just going to say, okay, I'm going to print out immediately, and add an incrementation to it. But the while loop was started to execute twice, and it's realized, hey, 1 is less than 0, right? Because it's after it's incremented, so it will not execute it for the second time. So do while loop will execute at least 1 time, and that's how do while loop in most programming language operate. And now let's go back to infinite loop. So I won't actually execute this. I think you can try, but your computer is going to crash because we find out that there's nothing can stop it. So this is called infinite loop. since this statement will always be true and never stop. So way to solve it, we're going to learn a way to solve it. So this is the first concept we're going to learn. New is called break statement. So take a look at this. So we have a while true. So basically, let's go ahead ignore this for. Okay, so let's go ahead ignore this line. Let's go ahead ignore this line for just a second. So what happened is exactly the same, right? But with this line break, so what break does is a way to terminate the loop. It's a great way to terminate a loop. Okay, so what happened is, so basically here's our loop, but with a break statement. So what break does is it's going to like, okay, so since this statement is true, it's always going to be executed, and then it's like print out console.log hello world for one time. So let's print out one time, but this row like, okay, it tell me to break, which means forget about this. Just exit out the loop, go to the second function or second statement or second whatever. So it exits out this loop. This loop is really powerful because it's a great way to solve infinite loop. So let's take a look at that in real action. So we can say while true. So while true, say console.log hello world. And since I don't want my dear computer to crash, I'm going to say break. And now indeed you see it's only execute one time because it's exit out immediately. This is break, a really powerful tool. Besides that, we also have another powerful tool called continue, which will do a similar thing with break. So let's take a look on this loop. Why don't you try to guess what will this loop does before you execute anything. Just try to think, like literally what does continue mean. Alright, so let me talk about how this loop works. So this is basically a while loop with incrementation here. And there is a pre-statement saying I equals 0. So it did the incrementation statement first. So when it is executed for first time, the I this step now I going to equal to 1. And then I'm not going to talk about continuous statement just yet because it does not match the the conditional statement because I is not equal to 3. So like, okay, I'm going to skip it. So we're going to straight jump to here. So it's going to print I into our console. Second round. So second round, now instead of 1, instead of 0, I is 1. Then do the incrementation, which become 2. 2 is still not 3 though, so it's going to print out 2. Alright. So now is what interesting happened. Now the I is 2 at beginning, and when it does the incrementation is 3. Now this conditional statement do matches. So it's gonna go here first. What do you mean by continue? Is continue redirect you to the top of the loop, wherever your conditional statement is. So for example, if it's a while loop, it's just going to go to condition, or for loop, it's just going to go to the increment expression. So while loop is going to go back to the tops, this conditional statement. So now I is 3. 3. So 3 plus 1 is 4, which go ahead and execute here. Print out 4. And same applied to 5. and so it will not be able to run again since 5 is not less than 5. Therefore, the console only going to print out 4 number 1, 2, 4, 5. Instead of without this continue, it's going to print out 5 numbers. So let's try that in real action. Go say var I equals 0, while I less than 5. I'm going to say I++, incrementation statement, and expression. If I triple equal to 3, I'm going to say continue, and I'm going to say console.log. And now indeed, you didn't saw 3 coming up because it's ignored by the continue statement. Alright. Now we're going to talk about for in loop. So let's go back with the object. So let's ignore this for just a second. So let's go ahead and ignore this for this confusing for that for just a second. So this is an object, or it's also known as JavaScript object notation, but it's just simply object in what vanilla JavaScript. So if you take a look at this object, we find out it have 3 keys. Have name. Let me use a different color of that. So it has name. It has it have hobby and it have languages. So this is like 3 key, and this is value. That is me coding an array, Python, and JavaScript. Now let's go ahead and take a look on this for in loop. So for in loop, it's a for loop. It's a way for loop loops through an object. So like here, so it is a little bit similar to Python. If you learned Python before, we recall to loop through an object, we're probably going to use for I in object, right? Then you can say print I. I'm actually planning to do a Python tutorial someday, but I want to finish JavaScript first. So this is how to do in Python, which is another powerful programming language. It is similar to Python in my opinion, at least. It is similar to that, but what's a little bit different is you still need to specify the for. I mean, this is the same, but you need to have a variable called here. So called let I. So you still need to declare a variable. So this is init in some way, and this is a little bit weird. So this actually got the loops through the object, the entire object, and then it console.log I. So whatever this value is. So what do you think I in this case represent? Well, why don't we try that out? So you can say var object equals to name hobby oh, sorry. Let me double check this. Hobby is coding and languages. Just going to say you know what? I'm actually going to say py for Python JS for JavaScript. Okay, so now we can try for let I in object and console.log I. And now you can see the key with the property name get printed out. That's the magic of let for in loop with an object. Okay. So you print out the property. Now you want to say, okay, what about value? Well, that would be much easier to operate. Since recall the value can use bracket notation. So you can just say object dash I. Bracket I, and now I can say see all the value pair values print out. Alright, so this, and now we're going to talk in object. This is for in loop in object. We're going to take a look at for in loop in array or iterable object. So what do you think going to print out this time? So think about how could you represent this array. How could you represent this array in object notation? Alright, so let's try this out. The var r equals to 10, 100, 1000. Can say for let I in r. Say console.log I. So what happened this time is pronounced 0, 1, 2. And if you take a look in detail, we find out, oh, is there indexes? Since recall indexes is just like the position of a given element in an array. This is 0, this is 1, 0, this is 2. You see, in my opinion, this array can be always rewrote to this format. So you can say string 0 or number 0, it can be represented by 10. Number 1 can be represented by 100. And number 2 can be represented by 1000. So this is an object with index to value. Index to the actual value. Alright. Alright, so let's go talk about the last loop we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about for off loop. So the array is still the same. So array equals to 10, 100, 1000. And let's take a look what happens if we execute this loop. For let off r, so you can say console.log I. So now this time we actually see values. So this is another way to looping through a iterable object. So I'm not sure whether this work on object or not. And if I type that in D, you can say obj is not iterable because you cannot get object by just typing its value, given by its index. It's a key value pair. So off only work for array, but I really prefer for just regular for loop for array. So whatever you want to do with array. And yes, so this is my tutorial more on loops, which I majorly talk about break statement, continuous statement, for in, and for off. I didn't spend time to talk about label because I don't think it's really valuable, and not many people really use label a lot. But if you want to, make sure you comment below. Probably going to make another video come more on loops too, talk about labels. And yes, thank you for watching this JavaScript tutorial number 18. So while I'm still here, we're going to do a little bit complex stuff tomorrow in next video, wherever I publish it, which is supposed to be March 6th. Alright, so see you on March 6th.